All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely critical, a distinction that is quite literally making or breaking operations across the business landscape right now. We're talking about AI procurement, but we're going to look at it through a highly specific, commercially precise lens. You see, there's a massive structural gap in how organizations are evaluating and buying artificial intelligence today, and it all boils down to one stark reality. Your AI vendor is not your AI strategy. So let's dive right into this core principle. If you're an operations leader, a COO, or a business owner, you've probably felt the friction of this firsthand during a software evaluation. The reality is, the vendor knows its product. That is not the same as knowing what fits your operation. Think about it. The vendor is an absolute expert in what they've built, but they are definitely not the experts in the messy, daily reality of your specific business. And that structural gap, it creates a massive disconnect during the buying process. On one side, you have the vendor's frame. This entirely dictates the demo environment. A demo is designed to answer one question flawlessly. Can this product do the thing? It's a polished, highly controlled showcase that works absolute magic in a scripted setting. But on the other side is the business's frame. Does this actually fit how we operate? A demo just doesn't touch your sprawling, messy reality. Your legacy systems, your crazy approval chains, or those unique edge cases. Buying conversations often get trapped entirely inside the vendor's frame, simply because, well, that's the frame they control. So you might be wondering, when does this structural gap actually show its face? Well, almost never at the contract signing. Everyone is usually thrilled at the signing party. No, it shows up exactly 6 months later as a brutal operational hangover. 6 months down the line, the tool is plugged in, it's working exactly as it was demonstrated in the pitch, and yet, the original business problem you set out to fix, it's still sitting right there, completely unsolved. Section 1. The pace of AI, speed versus readiness. Why is this structural gap becoming such an urgent crisis right now? Just look at the sheer velocity of the market. According to a recent Gartner forecast, looking at enterprise apps featuring task-specific AI agents, the adoption rate is just explosive. In 2025, we're looking at less than 5%, but by the end of 2026, it rockets up to 40%. That's a massive jump. And as these AI agents rapidly spread, the sheer volume of high-stakes product decisions landing on the desks of business leaders is skyrocketing. So here is the crucial point to take away. Technology selection is moving significantly faster than workflow and readiness assessment. Because of the insane speed of the market, the product is being chosen before the actual operation it's meant to serve has even been accurately mapped out. As a result, businesses are doing things completely backwards. They're actually designing their workflows around the limitations of the new tool instead of finding a tool that supports their actual workflow. Section 2. 3 decision failures. Let's look at the vendor-led pitfalls. When you select technology without an independent assessment, you're going to run into 3 predictable vendor-led decision failures. Number 1, treating the demo as the ultimate decision. Number 2, allowing the vendor to scope your business problem. And number 3, completely lacking an architecture layer between your need and the tool you buy. Let's unpack these. We'll start with failure number 1. We call this the demo illusion. A demo proves that a product works perfectly in a controlled environment, but it absolutely does not prove that the product fits this particular business's messy data, unique exceptions, or existing tech stack. If you buy based solely on a demo, you are just buying a capability. You are absolutely not buying a fit assessment. And this brings us to failure number 2. Letting the vendor scope the problem. Now, I want to pause here because this is vital to understand. That is not dishonesty. It's simply how sales works. Vendors are naturally inclined to frame your business problem in the exact terms that their specific product solves well. It's not bad faith at all, but it means the framing of what is actually wrong in your business needs to come from someone completely independent of the person trying to sell you the fix. Which leads us directly to failure number 3. Businesses realize they have a problem, and they jump immediately to buying a platform. They literally skip a step. There is no layer in between checking whether the two actually match. The correct process requires an architecture layer in the middle. Without someone auditing the operation and designing the solution first, you are flying completely blind. Section 3. What good looks like. Independent standards. So what does a truly independent decision process look like? Well, it takes what vendors naturally collapse into one single pitch and separates it into 3 very distinct responsibilities. Step 1. Is this use case actually worth solving for the business? Step 2. what does the right solution architecture actually look like for our workflow? And only then, step 3, which product or combination of products actually fits that architecture? I really want to hammer home this core distinction because it's a game changer. Product expertise entirely belongs to the vendor. They know their tool best. But solution architecture, that requires a much wider vendor-neutral view of your business need, your operational workflow, and your risk environment. Untangling the vendor's job from the business's job actually makes the vendor conversation infinitely easier. You get to walk into the room already knowing your architecture rather than trying to discover it live during a high-pressure sales pitch. Section 4, the architecture layer, independent judgment. And this is exactly where Omnisenti comes in. Omnisenti provides that exact vendor-neutral architecture layer that sits firmly between your business problem and the platform you ultimately buy. Now, it's vital to state that Omnisenti is not anti-vendor, not at all. We work with platforms and product components all the time. What Omnisenti provides is the independent judgment and structural assessment that is just currently missing from the room when these major decisions get made. Having that independent architecture layer protects the messy reality of your existing operations from being paved over by a tightly controlled product pitch. It allows you to select technology based purely on fit. It helps you combine tools logically, especially if one platform isn't some magic bullet. And most importantly, it ensures you implement technology around your operation, not reshape your operation around whichever product had the flashiest demo. If you take away just one commercially intelligent principle from this entire explainer today, let it be this. A demo proves capability, not fit. A demo proves the vendor built a really good tool. It does not prove that the tool belongs in your business. So, I want to leave you with a provocative question to help you critically evaluate your own AI buying cycle right now. Look around your decision room. Who is independently checking your architecture before you commit to a platform? If the only person framing your problem is the one selling you the solution, you are missing a critical layer of judgment. Look, you don't have to navigate this wild vendor ecosystem alone, and you definitely shouldn't let the technology dictate your workflow. To get an independent, vendor-neutral view before you commit to your next platform, simply reply FIT to start the conversation. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.